The 2025 NASCAR Truck Series is absolutely loaded. Find out where to get invested in the futures market with our best bets for the championship, season win totals, and placement props. All this and more. It's the Backroad coming right at you.
It's a non-points race, but it is a short race. Checkered flag. Let's roll this race.
All right, and welcome down the back road in between media's NASCAR betting program. Tonight, we continue with our best bet series, breaking down the 2025 NASCAR Truck Series future markets. I'm your host, Seth Woolcock. Absolutely buzzing tonight as we're roughly just 10 days away from the clash at Bowman Gray and cars being back on the track. Tonight, I am joined by one who many consider the OG of the NASCAR betting industry, a Philly John, and someone who handicaps the trucks better than most of them. Full Tank Phil Eastman. How the hell are you, man?
Seth, I'm fired up. This is, the perfect part of the off season right now where you kind of every day take out your app and start cruising through slowly but surely. You become more and more invested in the upcoming season with these future bets. And before we know it, Daytona will be here. And like you said, Clash just 10 days away. So really excited. And you mentioned the trucks. I think I might love the trucks most. So I was thrilled when I got the text to come on here with you and talk futures. So I'm happy to be here, man.
Well, I appreciate you joining us tonight, man. And as I said, like such a loaded field this year. We got some shifting, some shaking at the top of the order. So excited to see how that kind of all translate from a betting standpoint. Trucks is something that I've really started to bet more and more the last few years. So really interesting to see what we can kind of shake out here from the futures market. Great offerings from multiple books this season as well. So we appreciate them. Outlined for tonight's program in the rear view, quick NASCAR news update, then our parking garage prop, best bets for the Truck Series Championship market, specials market, season win total market as well. Shout out to the IBT NASCAR family riding with us live tonight in the chat. Looks like we had Marcus here a few hours early, already throwing out some Daytona 500 bets, asking who we're taking for the Clash, who we're taking for Daytona. Getting a little ahead of ourselves here, Marcus, a little ahead of ourselves, but we'll make sure we hit you back here in a couple of weeks. And speaking of the Clash, next week we have a huge announcement coming ahead of the Clash, so make sure you're tuning in for that. Please, if you're also enjoying this type of content, give this video a thumbs up and a like. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are nearly live pretty much every Thursday night here of the year. We also have episodes coming out each and every single week that we're not live. So make sure you guys are staying connected with us. Make sure you're following Phil over at Full Tank with Phil on Twitter, and then also the Full Tank with Phil podcast everywhere you're getting your audio. You guys are what? Spotify, Apple, pretty much all the generic places, Phil?
All the places you could possibly listen. Yep, that's right.
Awesome. When's the first episode of the season coming out?
Well, like I said, I've been kind of jotting some notes down. So I'll probably have a season preview episode up within the next week.
Hell yeah.
So that'll be the plan. Yep.
Let's go. Awesome.
Getting the itch.
Yeah, well, make sure you guys are checking out Phil's podcast. It's a great listen. I try to listen to it each and every single week when I'm lifting or out riding the bike or whatever I'm doing. I try to have Phil in my ear and getting some advice from him, especially on the Truck Series. So let's go ahead. Before we get there, though, let's update everyone on some news here in the rear view. All right, the big ticket item in the news this week, Phil, it's that the option tires are returning for the spring Phoenix race. In race, teams will be getting 6 primary sets, 2 option sets, and 1 left from qualifying. They first debuted these tires back at last year's All-Star race and then debuted in a points-paying race at Richmond in August. Does this change your data sets, kind of how you're viewing this first Phoenix race, which is usually kind of clunky and not always translatable from the previous Phoenix race that we just saw in the championship race?
Well, I think what we saw from what I can remember about the races where they just like randomly threw these into the points paying races is, there was a lot of hype, a lot of kind of hesitation from the gambling world around those races. And what it really turned out to be was just kind of a regular race. They haven't really, I think if you put some truth serum into NASCAR, I think they would tell you like they haven't really hit their marks of like what they're trying to accomplish with this little experiment. So there's always the fear that like they could hit it dead on, and that really does make the gambling on the races a little bit more difficult. But no, I'm not changing my data sets. I'm not, really fearful of this. It's more so just kind of an eye roll from me at this point.
Yeah.
Like what are we doing here? Like I will appreciate that trying to tackle it earlier in the season and not like halfway through the year they decided to, alter the points paying races. But I saw somebody out there on Twitter. I don't know who it was. I know Mark from Mississippi was talking about it, and Ryan Stevens was talking about like, how about we just limit the amount of tires they have in total? Like,
Right. Yeah.
Let's just do something like that instead of, this like F1 gimmicky type of stuff. But I'm not a solutions guy. I'm more so, hey, let me know what they're doing and I'll bet on it in a certain way.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a little bit hard to follow. Like, not only do we have to figure out where the races are this year, but then you kind of have to track who's on what tires if you're trying to bet live too. So it definitely can make things a little bit convoluted, a little bit Mickey Mouse at times too. So I totally understand that. I think limiting the tire count could really impact, this and make it better. But, there are smarter people than us out there, Phil. They'll put the product on the track. We will bet on it no matter what happens. But I will probably be a little bit cautious going into Phoenix spring this year, just because like I absolutely got mauled over last year. I lost a ton. I think it was just like I was really heavy on Hemric, and it was kind of a weird fluky day. So maybe I'll pull back the reins a little bit, but it seems like you'll still be like head first there.
Well, yeah, and I remember that race from Hendrick's point of view. I mean, they had two cars that were in it and then got shuffled back. Like they had two cars that were like potential competing for the win. I mean, I know that he kind of ran away with it there, but they got shuffled back. So Hendrick really got screwed. But I actually made out pretty well. Phoenix was a high paying race for me at the end as far as like units won. So again, it's not making me kind of reconsider things. Now, what this might do, since they're starting this early, and I didn't see how many races they're doing this for. Did they announce that yet?
No, have no information on that. I've also been trying to track like all the races that we've seen option tires on, and I do not have that list in front of me. I have some lines in the waters to people way smarter than me again to try and get that information, but yeah, I have no idea on that either.
So what I think, like if you were somebody out there who really wanted to take this kind of analysis to the next level, is like now that they're starting this earlier in the season, we'll be able to maybe track kind of how different teams operate with this sort of thing. Who's a crew chief or a team that likes to hold back? Who's a team that just likes to blow down the doors early and just say, full send, and then come catch us, like that kind of deal. So maybe we get a sense of like what the teams do and their like personalities with this type of thing. And then we can kind of, have that infiltrate our data just a little bit from a, personality expectation. But that's really, the only thing you can do with it, because it just makes it more unpredictable. But no, and maybe when we get close, maybe on the Wednesday of race week for Phoenix, maybe I'm singing a different tune. But mid-January, I'm feeling good about it. And I'm not going to be scared at this moment.
Okay, take some damn notes, people. Have the notebook out, have it ready to go for that first Phoenix race, and just play to the crew chief tendencies. As Phil said, I think that's great advice, man. Let's get some fast lap news. Quickly, some driver entries that we should note for gambling purposes. Chandler Smith going to be attempting the Daytona 500 in the 66. Garrett Smithley will be in it for the Clash. 12-time Bowman Gray champ, 2-time modified champ Burt Myers will be entering the Clash in the number 50 car. Great to see so many local upstart grassroots drivers in the Clash this year. And then Andres Perez de Lara, he's the former ARCA champ. He's going to be driving the number 77 Spire truck full time in 2025. Phil, out of these 3 news nuggets here, is there one that sticks out for gambling purposes? Like, hey, this might actually be something to watch.
100%. The one you just mentioned. I mean, if you're only a fan of the Cup Series, then yes, the Chandler Smith taking a run at Daytona, I think is definitely newsworthy. I'm a Chandler Smith fan, as we'll probably talk about, so it's nice to see him, get a run up there. But the Andres Perez de Lara, I don't even know if I'm butchering his name, but to have a full-time 77 truck,
Yeah,
kind of flying under the radar. Seth, I just put out on Tuesday my rankings of the new faces and new places for the Truck Series. This was news that just happened. Like, I didn't even get a chance to talk about him, and his statistics in ARCA are unreal. Out of the last 39 races, he's only had 7 races where he finished outside the top 10.
Oh, wow.
But like you mentioned, last year was the champion. So you combine that. I mean, there's some guys and girls that just got a full-time ride coming into the Truck Series from ARCA that don't even come close to stiffing those types of stats. And now he's being paired up with a Spire team that, they've got that all-star number 7 truck, and then they got Rajah. So, he's no pushover. This is big news. This is big news on a week-to-week basis. I am thrilled to be able to see what that truck is going to be able to do, once we get past the Daytonas and the Atlantas. Once we get to Vegas, I think, for trucks, that's when we really see what that team's going to be made of. I'm excited.
Putting you kind of on the spot here, like if you're doing a power rankings of the entire Truck Series, where do you think Perez de Lara, just based on pedigree, kind of based on the equipment here, do you think he's a top 12 borderline playoff guy?
Oh, well, I'll tell you this. Let's start this. He is now, up until this news, there was only 2 guys running for Rookie of the Year, Gio Ruggiero and Christian Rose.
Yeah.
I had Gio Ruggiero as the hands-down Rookie of the Year favorite. I think he now moves ahead of Gio. I think he can compete. Now you got to set expectations. I think top 15s to start the year in that, truck is going to be where they're, shooting for first.
Okay.
So what's he replacing? The Chase Purdy truck? Is that, I don't know who was in 77 last year.
I think it was Chase Purdy. That means Chase Purdy's probably out here, huh?
Yeah, I'm pulling up Majeski right now. Yeah, I mean, I maybe I'm misremembering. Sorry, this is bad radio, but
no, that's all right.
Yeah, he's not listed right now on the Majeski site. So yeah, I believe Chase Purdy is kicked to the curb. Now that truck underperformed last year, and that's why he's out. So it's not like he's taking on, 19 truck.
Sure.
But I have high expectations. So I think a top 12 standings wise should be the goal for that team from, like you said, the pedigree and what he's been able to do in ARCA. If it's a, step-by-step progression like you would hope it would be, then yeah, he should be competing and running away with Rookie of the Year and potentially doing what Nick Sanchez did a couple years ago for Chevy, which was come in, win Rookie of the Year, make the playoffs. So I think it could be possible.
And if we're looking at rookies here and you factor in Dawson Sutton also, who's going to be in that Rackley War truck, Phil, would you say it's almost like minus money if there were betting odds for the Truck Series Rookie of the Year? Would you say it's minus money here for Andre Days Lara, or do you think we could potentially see one of these other guys like Gio or like Dawson Sutton also kind of up there in the mix?
Yeah, I haven't given Dawson Sutton any looks yet. He's not listed as a Rookie of the Year candidate, so I don't know why that would be.
Okay. I mean, he has ran truck before, so that makes sense, but he's never been full-time, I guess.
Maybe, yeah, and that's probably why a couple of these other drivers are not listed as part of Rookie of the Year candidates. So I had it all week that Gio Ruggiero was like minus 150 over Christian Rose. Now that the 77 truck has Andres Perez in there, I would say it's maybe like plus 105 in his favor for the 77 truck, maybe plus 200 for Gio. But it's going to be fun. I hope that we get trucks like that matched up, right? The books can get pretty top heavy, and probably the drivers that we're going to be talking about tonight. But I'm really hopeful that we get some of these newer drivers in the series. When Corey Day's in a race, we have him in there. Connor Mozak, Tony Breidinger, Gio, Andres, Perez here. Like, I hope we have like head-to-head matchups here, and we have ways to bet on these drivers other than top 5 every week.
Right.
So,
Right.
because
Yeah.
that really keeps you glued to how these guys are doing, and it makes it more fun to watch.
Certainly does. Looks like we got Jamie in the chat as well. What's up, Jamie? Good to see you tonight, man. Happy Thursday. Hope you're having a great week so far. Ready for some NASCAR, just about 10 days away from now. One more news item to quickly hit here, Phil. Connor Zilisch, he's going to be debuting in Cup at COTA in a Red Bull number 87 car powered by Trackhouse there. They're also going to be sponsoring SVG for 5 races. Justin Mark said this was one of his big goals when he started Trackhouse, get Red Bull back in the sport. So pretty crazy situation there. Do you think Zilisch will be potentially on your card for COTA as early as this spring in a Cup Series car?
So I'll say no.
Okay.
I say this: when he was racing at COTA in trucks last year, I said no. I guess that was the 7 truck, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna let this guy kind of prove me wrong here, and boy did he. Pulled it, wrecked on the first lap on his own, got it back up there. I think he finished top 5. So yeah, I cheer for guys like that. Will I have him on my card? We'll have to see, but thrilled about the Trackhouse, dude. This real quick, this car right here, this diecast is my white whale. I finally got it. The Casey Kane number 4 Red Bull car. He drove that car 1 year in his little break year between the 9 car and Hemric.
Yeah.
And so when I saw the images of those cars, Zilisch and SVG, I was like, oh baby, like this car to me is the best diecast I could own, and now we're gonna have more. So yeah, pretty.
Were you a
sick
Casey
move by
Kane fan?
Trackhouse.
Were you a Casey Kane fan? Okay.
Casey Kane. I've got maybe 5 diecasts, all Casey Kane, and then like a couple others. So yeah, I got his truck win. I got his signed Bud car. I got his farmer's insurance car. I'm a big Casey Kane fan.
Love it. Man, Casey Kane, he was a hot thing for a minute. He was the Connor Zilisch back in the day. Don't forget about it, dude.
Yeah, he had his star was shining bright for a little bit. But
yeah, I actually saw him out here in Mechanicsburg last year. He was out here running some dirt. So I think he kind of runs with the World Outlaws quite a bit, it seems like.
Oh, he's got his dirt team. Brad Sweet is on his team, and they're competing for championships every year. So yeah, the KKR racing team. Shout out Casey Kane. He's my guy.
Shout out, baby. All right, Phil, let's go ahead. Let's turn the page now. Let's jump into some betting for the Truck Series with our parking garage props. All right, we're going to go ahead and start in the championship futures market for the Truck Series here. Phil, I'm going to throw it right to you first. Who is one of the favorites that you're kind of locking in here that you think is still, while it might be 10-1 or under, still has good value for you think?
Yeah, when you're talking about this market, the way I'm thinking about it is you're trying to, obviously we're a million years away or months away from this actually mattering, but you're trying to pick someone who could just make the championship for, because in trucks it goes crazy in that Phoenix race in the championship. It's not necessarily like Corey Heim is the pick to win the championship. He is the guy. He is the guy, but he's been that guy for 2 years straight and couldn't get it done. Why? Because it's the complete Wild West in that race. So who is someone at a value? You're essentially trying to get someone at a decent enough value that you think could be in that championship for. And now you're sitting on a 10-1 ticket on somebody that, you're feeling good about, because anything can happen. So the guy that stands out to me is Grant Enfinger. He's plus 950 right now on Caesars, and Grant has been, I had the stat written down and I left my notebook upstairs, but if you're looking back to like 2019, he's made the championship 3 times
Yep.
and made the championship 7 times
Yep.
since 2019. So what you're doing here is you're saying, all right, 9-1. You're assuming he's going to win a couple races. As soon as some of these big dogs win a race in the Truck Series, their championship odds plummet.
Nuked.
So
Yep.
you're trying to pick a guy like this who has a history of getting there, can get it done. He finished second just a couple of years ago in the crazy race that just went haywire. But he is someone that I could easily see in the championship. I mean, he was in it last year as well. So, and there was no drop off when he moved to that 9 truck.
Right.
No drop off.
We thought there might be.
I was very concerned.
Yeah.
Because Grant's my guy. Like Derek, shout out Derek Yoder. He was just texting me the other day. Who's your favorite Truck Series driver, like at all? And I was like, Grant Enfinger. I'm always rooting for him. I was very concerned about him early on.
Yeah.
And then it was like not even missing a beat halfway through the year. He was like a legit threat to win the championship. So I think at plus 950, he's someone that I definitely would, shout out to people to give a look to, because again, if you're focusing on just making the championship 4, that number seems legit.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I remember having a conversation with you back in August during the break that I actually liked Grant last year to win 18-1. And I remember I took a sprinkle on him, wrote it into the championship 4. And at that point I was in only about a half a unit. And I was like, well, I got a cash out offer for it, but I was like, I'm just going to try to ride it out here. And, obviously didn't pan out the way I wanted it to in Phoenix there, but Grant's a talented driver. He sets up well for the end of the regular season once again this year. So I definitely see a little bit of value at plus 950. I saw him like down to 7-1, 8-1 at some other shops. So plus 950, I don't mind that value at all. My favorite value across all books right now, it's Daniel Hemric, 12-1. That's at Bet365. I went 1.5 units on this, and I was seeing Hemric a couple other places like 8-1, 9.5, 9-1. I saw a 10, I think, over on ESPN. But when I saw 12-1 still at Bet365, I had to jump on it. This is a former Xfinity Series champion, finished top 10 in all 5 of his full-time seasons in that series. And it's been a while, but he did run full-time trucks in 15 and 16. He finished 7th and 6th in points those seasons as well. In 2016, he had an average finish of 8.6, which that's like crazy, I feel like, for the Truck Series. Phil, you've been watching this series a lot longer than me, but that was second that year only to the eventual champion of Johnny Sauter. Last year, that was better than everyone except Eckes and Heim. So, yeah, like put him in the Mac and Alley truck. The Eckes won 4 races in last year, led the series with a 6-point average, 7 average finish. Like, I'm all in at Daniel Hemric 12-1 because he's another guy. I don't know how many races he's going to win, but I know for damn sure he's going to make the playoffs and has a real shot at making that championship 4, I think.
I agree with you. And that number that you found on Bet365, that's a damn good one. So the reason why I was kind of scared off on him was, I saw his number when the odds first dropped, like when you're kind of like, oh,
yeah. I was trying to remember back. Was it 15? Is that what you saw? 15? 17-1. Oh.
And it was kind of like, I guess, pre-New Year's Eve type, like that's the time of the calendar that it was. And you're like, oh, I haven't really focused that much on it. And I'll be honest with you, when I first heard he was replacing Eckes in the 19, my initial visceral reaction was like, ugh, like,
yeah,
Dan Hemric, what? Like, there's not a better name than that. But as you start to go through his history, I call him a NASCAR nomad. Like, he's just been around and had various levels of success. You mentioned his Xfinity success. It's been a while since trucks. Didn't win a race in trucks, but was competitive. Brad Keselowski Racing, was the last time he was in trucks.
Wow. Yeah.
That I'm more excited now. And I was mad at myself that I didn't get that 17-1. Like, I was looking at Caesars when you brought it up. He's 7-1 on Caesars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. But 12-1, that's one that I could be like, yes, because of all the things you said. And you're looking at the landscape of this field, And while as a fan, I'm planning on being very entertained. As a gambler, it's like, who could make that championship for? Daniel Hemric coming into a prime ride should. And I would take him over a few other guys that are lower than him to make
Yeah.
that championship for. So
Yeah.
I like your pick.
Yeah, at 12-1, I think it's still value, and I vaguely remember seeing somewhere above a 15-1 when they first dropped, and like you said, it was kind of in that like fog between Christmas and New Year's, and all the Penn State games happening. And I remember texting Elliot like Truck Series odds are up, hate them all except maybe Daniel Hemric. And I remember that's a text I sent him, and should have clicked it then as well with you. But if you guys like Daniel Hemric, go over to 365. Phil, how happy are you this year to have 365 for the whole season? It is. Oh my gosh, I love him.
There are times it's so great to have a book that is different than the others. Like, and there are some drivers where their odds are not even close, but there are others where you're like, yes, this is a deal. They offer a ton of different markets. So yes, it's a breath of fresh air.
You used to be going over to New Jersey. You'd have gone to New Jersey to
hand up. I've done that many times for Bet365. I've given my username and password out to my brother-in-law who is staying in Jersey for the weekend. Like this time last year, actually, I was like, yo, I need this, and this. So very, very happy that they're legal now in PA.
Yeah, shout out 365. We appreciate you. Not a sponsor yet. We're trying. We're putting the line in the pond. Phil, I want to turn it back to you, staying in the championship futures market. Who's someone down the board a little bit further from Enfinger, from Hemric that you got your eye on right now?
Yeah, someone that I think might make some folks a little upset with me, but Ben Rhodes, 18-1 to win the championship. Ben Rhodes had an off year last year, and fully understand I don't know what it was. He was just off, and we don't hear as much press about like the Truck Series drivers. They kind of just show up on Fridays and then they're gone, and we don't hear like did they have a baby or something? Like, is there anything that in the personal lives of these drivers that might impact stuff? Because you get that all the time in the Cup Series. Ben Rhodes was off last year. Only 3 top 5s. That's not Ben Rhodes' style. But you know how we have even year Logano?
Yes.
Well, we got odd years Rhodes. And 2021 championship, 2023 championship. And so he's had these off years in between. Well, now 2025. So again, sticking with the mindset of making the championship, 18-1 for Ben Rhodes. Like that race that he won in 2023, he should not have won, probably, right? You had the Hocevar getting into Heim. It was a mess.
Shit show.
Accidents after accidents. Eckes wasn't even in the race, or wasn't even in the championship. He wins the race. Rhodes beats Enfinger. That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying, hey, let's take some drivers like this. Because if you make it, you're in. And I think Rhodes, I'm not scared off when we're talking about these Truck Series lifers having down seasons. It's different than, say, a Time Majeski who's trying to kind of work his way up, had an off year like a couple years ago, right? I'm not scared off about these lifers struggling because I think that they just kind of reset, re-rack them, restack them, and we've seen Ben Rhodes do that twice now. So 18-1, I think, is good value on Ben Rhodes for making a championship run. And if he were to go out, past years Ben Rhodes starts the season hot. So he's won Daytona in 2021. He won Daytona. He won Daytona Road Course. He had 2 wins to start the season.
Oh wow!
So he has the history of starting hot. If he were to do that, man, those odds are going to disappear. And Bet360 has him at 16-1. So clearly there's value there, just a little bit, just by the book you're going off of. So I don't know. What do you think about Ben Rhodes, Seth? Is that making you kind of nervous?
I'm okay with Rhodes. Like I'm not jumping to bet him anywhere, honestly. Like it just, I don't know what happened last year. Like that's the thing. Like I just have unanswered questions. We saw him almost I can't remember if it was Phoenix now, if it was the race before where we were seeing him almost go for the win and he got dumped by Eckes. I think that was the race before, right? Was that the Ville? Was that at the Ville? Is that where that was?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Like that was the best I felt like we saw him in a while. I remember throwing a dart at him a race or two last year and just didn't really do a whole lot. So I still believe in that equipment. I still think he's a talented driver. I don't like he's not that old, right? Like he's not any older than like what, mid-30s at this point. Like I don't think he should be in his decline.
No, and that's my point is I don't think he is in a decline. I mean, he won in 2021 and then in 2022 he made the championship race, but he only won one race that year. Okay? Like that's not, blowing the doors off of anybody. That's kind of just hanging around, buying your time and doing your thing when it matters. So, that's the thing is I don't think he's out of his prime. I don't think that equipment, I mean, he's 27 years old. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah,
he's still real young then. Okay.
Yeah, he's young. I mean, so that's why I'm not scared off by it. Now, I got to put my hand up and say when things don't kind of match my narrative. In 2022, he did have 8 top 5. So like he was still kind of competing, whereas last year he only had 3. So I'll say that, but he's had the ability to kind of have bounce back years and make that championship 4. He should be contending. I'd have to imagine that Thor Sport, first of all, they won the championship with Majeski last year.
Right.
And so they have momentum from that. I think those guys are going to be coming out firing.
Yeah, and like it's almost like the positive regression law that I took the over on Bubba Wallace's like half a cup win, and it was like this dude's too talented to go 100 plus wins or 100 plus races without winning one. I kind of feel similar to Ben Rhodes, like he's gonna get the monkey off his back, and like even though he had a terrible year, like wasn't he still a round of 8 guy last year? Or at least I know he was a playoff driver, so I just feel like 18-1 is not a bad number for a guy who can get in the mix. So I'm all right with it. I'm not going to bash you for it or anything like that. I do have some questions though in the specials market that I would like to address with one of the picks that you have out there. You have a couple Quinellas. Tell us a little bit more about the thought process with going with a season-long Quinella and who are some of your Quinellas that you're tracking down here. And shout out to Caesars again for really having some great special markets to get invested with.
Yeah, I mean, Caesars just has more trucks futures specials than I've ever seen. Really crazy. So yeah, I mean, with the Quinellas, these are, you mentioned the word dart a little bit ago. These are darts. Okay. These are things that you can kind of throw out there just to sit on and have some fun. Maybe you didn't bet a certain guy on a race and you're like, oh, he won the race. How did I not take him? Oh, wait, I have a future on him, So these are more for fun. These are not going to pay the mortgage. But I look at a number like plus 850 for Corey Heim and Daniel Hemric, right? That to me is crazy because I fully expect Corey Heim to be in the championship 4 and Daniel Hemric, he's got some hurdles to clear, but I, at this point in the year, think he should be there too, driving that truck because of the resume that we threw out there earlier.
Yep.
Coming down to do this, plus 850. So what you're hoping here is that these guys both make the race, and then either one of them, they finish 1-2. Doesn't matter the order. If you want the exacta, then you have to predict the champion. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to say one of these two guys wins the title and the other one finishes second. This, I would have thought was chalk. I would have thought that these guys were like way lower. Plus 850. I was like, I'll talk about that a little bit. So
yeah, I like that. I mean, I just went on a 5-minute rant about how much I like Daniel Hemric and Corey Heim, the betting favorite. What, like 2-1 at most books, 250. I think you can maybe find him a couple places. Like, I think there's real value here. This is probably my favorite bet I've heard you talk about tonight so far, Phil. So hats off to you. I think it's a really good find and something to ride a little sprinkle with because Daniel Hemric's going to be boring as shit to watch half the year. He's probably not going to win a lot of races, but he could be there in the end. And we know Corey Heim's going to have so many damn playoff points from the wins he's likely going to have. He's got a really high win total that Vegas is predicting for him. So I'm about this one. I don't know about this other one, though, you're about to throw out. Tell me about your other Quinella you got here.
Well, this is, again, shot in the dark. And this is the type of deal where we're saying, like, chaos in the championship race.
Mm-hmm.
So I just made my case for Ben Rhodes. Chandler Smith. I have Chandler Smith ranked as my number one new face, new place in the Truck Series.
Wow.
Ahead of Daniel Hemric. Racing for front row, doesn't have a number yet, but
no number.
They'll give him one. And this is a driver who he's 22 years old, and he has felt like he's lived like 4 lifetimes. Won 5 races in the Truck Series in two seasons, is a contender. He's been a contender pretty much every season he's raced in NASCAR, depending on the series. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
He races for top tier teams. Front row thinks they're a top tier team again. So here we go. Chandler Smith dipping down. If we're talking Heim, we're talking Hemric. Chandler Smith is my number 3. Like,
okay,
he's
okay.
you got to have him in the championship 4 if you're trying to count guys. Then after that, we take a ride on Ben Rhodes, and if they're in, now you're cheering for chaos. So this is, again, a fun bet.
Mm-hmm.
If my championship 4 is Heim, Hemric, Smith, and Ben Rhodes, and I have these 2 bets that I just called out, I'm pretty happy with those. So that's all. But we're calling these 2 out. You can have a lot of fun dipping down and checking these out. And the funny thing is, I don't know when they're going to take them away. Usually it's after the first race of the year, they take the futures away. But maybe they leave these Quinellas up all year. I don't know.
That would be fun. And you're talking me into it a little bit. You're talking me into it a little bit. Like, I'm just like not the biggest Chandler Smith guy, at least like from a betting perspective. Like I bet him at the tracks I know he's good at. Phoenix last year, I'm betting him. Richmond, I'm betting him. Like, those are kind of generally the tracks I like to bet Chandler Smith at. And it's been a while since we've seen him full time in the Truck Series, but going down, to the like, I like front row. I like the equipment, and going back down to the Truck Series might not be a bad thing for him. So I don't hate this for 20-1. And I know Caesars typically isn't like the most aggressive book when it comes to cash outs. Usually that's 365. That's FanDuel. ESPN Bet will offer you something out sometimes. But if you have a 20-1 and you're riding into championship weekend with that, they might hedge themselves enough that they might offer you something out of this. So don't hate the call there. You have one more special for us tonight, Phil. What is it?
Oh, man. I think, well, I do have a season win total that I love the most, but this is sort of becoming my favorite bet of the Truck Series futures. And that's Chevy to have over 4.5 drivers in the top 10 in the standings. This is a strength in numbers situation. Okay. Toyota has like 5, 6 drivers. Like, if you count Stuart Friesen, you got the Tricon group, and one of them's a all-star truck. So they got
and
5.
One of them's Tony.
Really cool.
One of them's Tony,
one
right?
Of them's Tony. They're not making it. Gio maybe makes the playoffs. I don't know. And then you got Tanner Gray, who hasn't done anything. So let's assume that Stuart Friesen doesn't have some sort of bounce back. We got 1 Toyota truck. 1. Now we're working with 9 spots to fill. And you got to find how many? I need 5 Chevys. So you need 4 Ford trucks to fill these slots.
Front row, boys.
Let's give them both front row.
Yep.
And let's give me 2 of the Thor Sport boys.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, Ty Majeski, Ben Rhodes, or Ty Majeski and Crafton even.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think this bet is, first of all, it's hit the last like 3 or 4 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's really just because, like, last year, the number was 6 Chevys. The year before that, it was 5. Like, this over 4.5, I think, should be moved to 5. And if you want the hook, 5.5. and then that makes it really difficult. But I like 4.5 because of the strength in numbers.
Name out your
and
top. Name out your 5 Chevys if you would.
5 Chevy drivers. So we've got. Oh man,
you got Rajah there. You got.
let me see this here. Let me. I want to dig deep in this one because that's a great question. Let's call them out. I mean, Rajah, he's one that I'm not too crazy about. But all right, let's take a look.
Got Rajah. You got Hemric. You got both of those boys. I'm trying to think who else off the top of. Sorry to put you on the spot again, Phil.
No, it's all good. I mean, it's a great question because I'm saying I like the bet, and I'm saying it's a strength in numbers thing.
Enfinger as well.
Yeah, Enfinger definitely.
If you like Alnice and the boys at all,
so that brings up a good one, right? So we got Hemric, we got Enfinger. I'll give you Rajah because he did hang around a little bit more than I thought. I mean, I don't give Rajah enough credit from a gambling standpoint, like when I'm thinking it through, but we'll count him for this. I'll tell you what, Caden Honeycutt is someone that I expect to take a jump this year. And then, I'm just kind of going down the list here. I mean, last year is Daniel Dye. How about Connor Mosack in the McAnally truck, the 81? How about we've got the new Andre Perez in the 77? Yeah. I mean, it's less about the drivers and more about how many Chevy has so many drivers in the field compared to Ford and Toyota. Like Toyota, like I said, I'm only expecting one out of there. So, I mean, it is a good question. I wasn't able to rip off 5 that I am in love with, but it's more about the fact that the others don't. And Matt Crafton, Crafton's a Ford. What am I talking about? So, yeah, that's really last year was Sanchez driving the 2 truck. He's gone. The 2 trucks now in the Ford camp. So that does hurt my case here. But Tyler Ankrum, I mean,
consistent as hell. Yeah, he's probably locked in.
He was what? He made it to the round of 8. Yep. So, I mean, McAnally themselves is a team that could have 3 drivers in the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Brings it. Yeah. So, that's kind of where I'm going with that.
Yeah. No, I like the call out there. That's when I definitely think I'm gonna have to give a closer look, because when I was looking at the lines for Ford, I was looking at the lines for Toyota as well. I was kind of surprised kind of the lack of depth in both those camps. I was looking like, hey, could I maybe bet someone for a top Ford, or could I maybe bet someone for a top Toyota? And there really weren't a lot of options in those camps. So don't hate this call at all. I think this is, some would call it borderline generational. And I'm going to throw out my heater, my generational bet for the Truck Series this season. I mean, this is the big cojones. This is the one that I fell in love with. Maybe one of my favorite futures across all series. You guys know, Ellie and I have been sitting here talking about Connor Zilisch and the over on his win total for about 2 months already at this point. And this one might be right up there with it, man. Like, already went in on Hemric's degree and kind of like everything he's brought back to the Truck Series just based on his previous performances. Grant Enfinger, you kind of touched on him earlier as well, finished 4th in points last season. 2 wins, 8 top 10s, 13 top 10s, 8 top 5s, led the 3rd most laps in the series, which I think, like, leading laps to me in the Truck Series is very important. That means you're out there. It means you're contending for wins, and had an actual better average finish than eventual champion Ty Majeski. So Enfinger's right up there, man. Like, since going full time in trucks, he's been top 10 in 6 out of the 8 seasons. The 2 years he didn't get into the top 10, 2017, 2021, he finished 11th. So he's right up there, man. 3 championship, 4 appearances, as you said, including 2 straight. So with Hemric's consistency and Enfinger's consistency, like, they might not win a whole lot of races together. Like, I wouldn't want to take if you gave me like an over 3, 2.5 wins total on both of them, I don't know if I would take that. But just to get into the playoffs, to make a push here, I like this at plus money, Phil. It feels like a misprice a little bit. I think that, like, I would probably be paying minus 125 for this.
You've convinced me. You brought this up to me before we started the show, and I am going to play this heavily as well. think of it this way. We have 10 drivers that make the field in the playoffs for trucks. So if Daniel Hemric or Grant Enfinger were to miss the playoffs, that would be huge news.
Be shocking.
So it would be shocking. And there'd be reasons for it. Like we would see some sort of crazy, whether Hemric just can't do what Eckes did, or he's not as talented as they thought, whatever. That would be a surprise. Enfinger missing it after doing what he did last year and the year before. That would be a surprise. So that's why I love it so much. Is like these two should be locked in to the playoffs before the season even
they're
starts.
like top, in my opinion, they're like top 6 guys. And I feel safe with it. Like if this was Ben Rhodes instead of Enfinger, no way, I'm not touching it. But like they feel safe, man. They feel like, they feel like the friend's house that you go to, and like, hey, they're going to take your keys, they're not going to let you drive home. You're not going to get in any trouble. You feel safe there. Like, that's what I feel like with Enfinger and Hemric.
Agreed. I mean, these are two drivers that we could argue on a different show that they should be competing for a championship.
Yep.
And yet all we need them to do is basically a little parlay to both make the playoffs. Please, I'm in. I love that you found this, and it just goes to show you that Caesars has so much bets that like I didn't even see this one, and I just like a great zero in by you on this, and I'm excited for it.
All right, well, let's move forward here. Let's talk season win totals. I didn't love this market for the Truck Series, honestly, Phil. So maybe you can talk me into some bets. I only have one myself, but I know you have a trio of them. I want to start at the top with Corey Heim. You're going over 4.5 wins on him. You're paying a little bit of juice for it, but tell me why you think Corey Heim can continue to dominate the NASCAR Truck Series.
Yeah, so you are right about the win total, market. It's juiced one way or the other. It's juiced. Like the favorite is it's heavily juiced, and it probably scares some folks off on playing certain bets. And I kind of wish they would just like adjust the line.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
And make it more, even. But I'll tell you this. I am not scared at this bet at all. At all. 4.5 wins at -145. Give me the juice. Give it to me. He had 6 wins last year, and that is with what I would say a more competitive field with Christian Eckes.
More stacked to the top. I'd say this year might be a little deeper, but definitely more stacked to the top last year for sure with Sanchez and Eckes.
Sure, and let's zero in on that point, right? More stacked at the top compared to this year where it's like a little bit more even. What does that mean to me as a gambler? That means that like guys towards the back, not in the back, but like towards the back of the playoff picture, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for the Tyler Ankrams to kind of like lock his way in compared to the Layne Riggs or the, Connor Mozaks and the Gio Ruggiros and the Andres Perez now. Like, yes, but at the top, the guy leading the races, I see him as like unchallenged until I see it. Corey Heim won 6 races last year with Christian Eckes in the race, with Nick Sanchez in the race, with Taylor Gray, who is moving on without really doing anything, kind of failing upwards. I mean, we only had 7 drivers win races last year. And it's just crazy to me when you're looking at the list of names. I mean, Caruth he kicked ass in Vegas, but didn't do much after that. Who is competing with Corey Heim? Like, we need to take note. There's only 23 races in a year, so it's not like Truck Series or Cup Series with a lot, 36. So we're asking him to win 5 of 23 races. So I typically would be scared off by that, but because Corey Heim has been so dominant for so long, I would never want to bet against him. And I think he could win like 7 races this year, dude. Like until these other guys like Hemric, Smith, and you would hope that like somebody like Layne Riggs would keep his momentum going.
Right.
Majeski, we're going to talk about in a little bit. We'll talk about him in a second. But Ben Rhodes, maybe he gets a win or two, compared to last year where he didn't. You're just trying to find names like who could take wins from him. And how many times last year, dude, did we show up and he dominated practice, dominated qualifying,
Yep.
and he dominated the race. It's just, I guess the only thing you're scared of is Cup guys coming down, which he's beaten them too. So
Yeah.
I'm not scared about this number. I've already taken this.
Okay. All right. I like that play. And you touched on Layne Riggs there. I have him over 2.5 wins, -150 at Bet365. I mean, talk about laying some juice. This is it right here. But this is like -165 some places, -160. I've seen it out there. Definitely probably my riskiest bet of the season, specifically in the Truck Series here. But I still think it's a serviceable line, and it's -150 for a reason, because this is like projecting forward a little bit here. I think Layne Riggs is going to be one of the stars of the Truck Series in 2025. Like, I really think it's going to be Heim, and I think Layne Riggs is really like that two banger for me. I like Hemric a lot. We've touched on Enfinger. I'm high on too, but he had 2 wins as a rookie. Only 6 full-time drivers did that last year. 2 of them, Eckes and Nick Sanchez, they're gone at this point as well. So 7th in top 5s with 7, 9th in top 10s, led the fifth most laps with 161. That was in a season where he had just one top 10 through 9 races. That's 40% of the season. This guy did not have a sea legs under him. Once he finally got together, the last 10 races, Phil, 7 top 10s, 5 top 5s, 2 wins. His short track pedigree, because he ran all those starts in the Cars Tours, it's unmatched, I think, in the series. Like, Corey Heim's good, but I think you'll see Layne Riggs as almost a co-favorite, or maybe even a past heavier favorite than Heim when we go to these tracks like Martinsville, when you go to tracks like Bristol, when we go to tracks like IRP. With this new schedule kind of bringing back Rockingham a little bit, I think Layne is a contender to win at over half the tracks. I circled 12 of them when I went through of them, and I could only then I went through and I started like adding all like the full-time drivers projected win totals from Vegas, and I got to 14. And I threw, okay, maybe Honeycutt wins 1, maybe Rhodes win 1. That gives us 16. Throw 3 races out for maybe a Chris Bell, a Kyle Busch, one of these guys kind of coming down to win 1. 3 non-full-time guys won last year. So I think there's still easily 3 wins that Layne could get here, especially because of the short tracks are later in the season, after a lot of those guys like Busch, like Chastain, have probably used up their 5 races that they can run. So I'm laying the juice here with Layne Riggs over 2.5. I want to get invested with him because I think he's the sport's next big thing in the Truck Series specifically, but I just couldn't take the short number on his championship odds, and I had to lay the juice here.
Yeah, man. I mean, you make a good case, and you've kind of talked me to the one side. This is where I go with Layne Riggs. It's almost no fault of his own, but I'm scared off by him because of history that we saw a couple years ago with Majeski. Majeski had almost like a scary similar season. I'm going to mix up the years. I'm not even going to try.
Yeah.
Where he shit the bed. I guess it was his first full-time ride for ThorSport. Shit the bed for the first half of the year, and then won 2 races late and got everybody's attention. And it was like, yes, he's the next thing. Here it comes. And it didn't. I had over 1.5 wins on him the next year, juiced to like -200. It didn't hit.
Wow.
So I am scared when I see something like this, because I'm like, everything you said,
I would have paid -200 for him. At 1.5. At 1.5, I would have absolutely. 2.5's a really good line, I think they set.
And it just scares me that he is going to have that letdown. Now, is that silly to look back at another driver and say, because then what happened 2 years, a year later, he wins. Majeski wins the championship.
Yeah,
but he doesn't
you have
win
to
races.
learn. You have to learn from your experience, though, right? Like, that's part of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's the, trying to use history to its advantage. Now, let's shove that out of the way for a second. And if you're able to do that, I could get behind this, because let's not forget what truck he's driving. It's the 38 Zane Smith machine, which was always in competition with the 11 when they were on the track together. Zane, him, and Eckes. I mean, they made for such a great, and Hocevar. I mean,
Yeah.
just an
Oh wow. Yeah.
unbelievable, 4 drivers there. So yeah, and I loved the math that you were doing, kind of identifying tracks. How many tracks does he have an opportunity that you would see him in victory lane? That's a lot, like 12 potential wins based off the track and his skill
Mhm.
set. That's a lot. Consider everything that I said about Heim not having much competition. Is he the next guy? I could see this. There's a world where we are here in August saying like, oh my God, the easiest bet of the year was Layne Riggs over 2.5, because he just keeps this momentum going
Mhm.
and goes to the moon. So I'm on the fence with this one.
Yeah.
It
I get it.
it
Yeah.
was over or no play, because I definitely don't want to play against him.
Mhm.
I wouldn't want to take the the odds, the plus money to go under. But you've kind of got me leaning more towards the Layne Riggs side of things.
Dude, he's been in the gym. This guy's getting yoked up too. Like this guy is starting to trim down. Like I liked it. To me, like physique matters a little bit with drivers. Like no offense, but like kind of saw the Josh Williams writing on the wall a little bit last year in the Xfinity series. But like I like drivers who are like putting in the work. Like that's why I've always loved Ross so much, is because like that guy's working out with Josh Weiss all the time. He's getting on that cardio bike. Like Layne looks like he's putting in the work. Like this picture that we have right down here of him, that does not do this man justice. He does not look like that anymore. This guy's
Yeah.
getting fucking shredded. So I like that, man.
One other thing now, you could say, I'm not one to gloat, but you could say that I'm the reason for his success. And that is because at Pocono, that race at Pocono, the podcast we had going into
Yeah.
Pocono, at Pocono, I was on pit lane, just absolutely talking shit about Layne Riggs, saying he's got no fucking chance. He was out of that race, if you remember. I know you were there.
Yeah.
No, he wrecked in practice, and I was just like collecting all the money, talking shit to his dad, and like, look at that loser. And then after Pocono, he went on a tear. So I
Yep.
think he heard Full
Yep.
Tank Phil talking shit and got in the gym and said, all right, I'm going to turn this thing around. And there he did. There he goes. So maybe I should ride that. And, maybe he's got my picture on the wall and he's just trying to prove me wrong. So
I
I'll
mean, so you
say
ever seen Scott?
under.
Scott's a unit too, man. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. I know. But yeah, he turned it around since Pocono. I mean, it's really been crazy. You kind of documented the last 10 races, just unbelievable. So
Full tank Phil, baby. Number one Layne Riggs hater, baby. I like
I,
it.
I'll say on the podcast under 2.5, and then I'll go bet the over because we know he's listening.
Oh, we appreciate you, Layne. We got 2 more win total bets coming from you, Phil, starting with Ty Majeski, the champion for 2024. Great run for him. I gotta say, man, like there was not a lot of great pictures of Ty Majeski. I know the whole thing, like he missed the media day. I think he might have missed the media day preseason too, because they have no. I had to go diving deep into the dark web to find this decent picture of him. NASCAR.com has nothing of him. The one they have is like 100 by 100. It's black and white. So, that being said, you like Ty Majeski despite the lack of photos NASCAR has on him.
Yes, and the lack of wins that he's had in his Truck Series career. I think Ty is now going to elevate into.
Okay, you think Ty's the next one, huh?
Well, we're sitting here trying to think, all right, who's going to put up a fight against Corey Heim? And we've been talking about Hemric, and I mentioned Jones, but Smith.
Mm-hmm.
But Ty Majeski now has that monkey off of his back, won a championship, won the pole, won the race, like got it done. There was no question about it. And I think that that's going to work wonders. You have that element to it where it's like, oh, I'm a champion. I show up to the track. I am a champion. And you consider, again, lack of competition at the top. And the fact that if you look at their races, and there's some of them that don't even show up on the kind of the sheet, that they got in, like he got into his own way, whether it
Kansas.
was like speeding on pit road or just a mess up on pit road with his team.
I think he pulled Kansas and wrecked like
Just-
lap 1 or something.
Just let's see, Kansas. Yeah, he started second and then wrecked very quickly. He was out of the
Yeah.
race in 10 laps. So yeah, I mean, stuff like that. I mean, you know, he pulled Martinsville, finished second. Like just so close. Gateway, he was on the pole, he finished fourth. If they get out of their own way and stop and they just clean things up, and I think this is all like sports psychology type stuff. Like now we're a championship team. That stuff I think can kind of fall into place. So 2.5, he won 3 last year. He took the championship to do it, but still, I think you talk about short track packages. This is a short track guy, and 2.5 seems like could be again. You're looking back saying, "Oh man, what an easy bet." So I mentioned how he burned me a couple years ago, but I'm in my opinion, good reasons. I'm in on the 2.5 here.
I remember actually you and Derek Yoder talking on the NASCAR betting preview show, Truck Series edition last year, that Majeski's team at one point up there in the great state of Ohio didn't even have a full-time engineer until like midsummer or something. I think they just got a kid right out of college. So like obviously like we're hoping they got a full-time engineer this year, right? Like I think that should do them wonders, because it felt like it was a slow start for Majeski. And then once they probably got that new engineer in the building, I felt like they slowly kind of started to get it together and, you know, make that championship run.
I mean, you're only speaking facts, and I don't know if they're going to do something like that again. The problem that they have, that Ty was on the All Things Go podcast with those guys, and he was saying that being in Ohio is like the jump off point for engineers and mechanics and everything. So they come out of college, they get their first gigs at Thorpe Sport, but that's not the destination they want to go. They want to go to Charlotte. They want to go to North Carolina. They want to be part of that. That's the show. And so they're constantly having turnover. And that's why the 98 truck didn't have an engineer, race engineer for the first few races until the All-Star race. And then they got their guy who graduated college and came aboard. So I don't know if that guy's moving on because they won and people are probably picking them.
Yeah, true.
Maybe they're waiting again from, I don't know what it was, like Cincinnati or Ohio State.
Why don't people love Sandusky, baby? Come on. Like you got, I don't know if you ever heard of Putin Bay up in that area though, Phil, but
I have not.
It's like it's in the middle of Lake Erie up there, like a couple miles off of Sandusky. And it's like a little island in the middle of it. There's a couple hotels, a couple bars, and it's just like a hot spot for like bridal showers and like bachelor parties and all that stuff. So Putin Bay, man, Putin Bay. Yeah, I haven't been there, but I know a lot of people who do a lot of things up in that area, and it seems a little rowdy up in that mix. So people got to get up there.
ThorSport should hire you as your marketing. But your point about not having an engineer is valid here, because let's say that they don't again this year. You can look at his statistics and see post All-Star race, they came alive. So if you take this bet and you get to halfway through the year and, you know, he still doesn't have a win, don't be scared, because he did it last year. His first race came at IRP, 15th race in the season. And he still got 3 wins. So Ty Majeski is definitely somebody to watch.
Okay. All right. Well, round us out here. You're taking the under on Rajah Caruth, under 1.5 wins, minus 145. I think there was some oversight on me on this one, because I didn't give this much of a thought, but as soon as I saw this noted down here, I was like, that's actually a pretty good bet. Like, I don't want to hate on Rajah, but it felt like, did he ever really come close to winning again outside of Vegas? Like, that's his style track, right? Like those intermediates. I remember betting him somewhere late in the season for a top 5, and I think I got screwed out of it at the end. I remember specifically being pretty upset about it. I think it was like a 2-1, but talk about Rajah and like outside of Vegas and that style of track, where do you think he could win?
Yeah, Homestead maybe.
Okay.
You know, he last year he started 3rd, he finished 8th. I mean, maybe that was one where you got screwed out of it. He pulled it at IRP last year, he finished 8th. He's someone. He's a wild ride to bet on, because
Yeah.
But the thing is, with this 1.5 number, let's just give them. Are we going to give them Vegas? Like Kyle Busch will be racing Vegas, I'm
Yeah.
sure. And Kyle ran into trouble. That was a weird race for Kyle
Maybe
Busch last year.
Zane might run Vegas too if Zane can find a ride, right?
Exactly. So if this number was 0.5,
Yeah.
I would just not even touch it. I'd be like,
Mhm.
okay. But because he needs to win 2, like that's such a big step up. And I mentioned he's a wild ride because you go into the race and you're like, no. And then he qualifies really well. Like he's a good
Mhm.
qualifier on a lot of on the tracks that he prefers. I mean, I'm just going down the list right now, but he qualified third, 8th, first, third, 5th, 4th, 10th, 6th,
Speed
first.
off the truck, yeah.
Yeah. And then you're like, shit, I need to adjust on the fly here. Maybe I should take a swinger on him or a flyer on him. And he didn't get it done. And like you said, like he was never really close. And you could almost say that Vegas win was like really weird. Like he pulled that out of left field. It was like,
Yeah.
what the hell just happened? And the fact that he won the race, it was like, wow, is this going to be the Rajah show the rest of the year? But it really wasn't. So I don't know. Maybe not being in high school this year and having homework to do back home will help him.
Yeah.
But it would be a big step up for him to win 2 races. And, you know, like I said, I think 1 race would be an accomplishment because that locks you into the playoffs.
Yeah, this is one I'm definitely going to give another look because like I don't know where he can win. Like Charlotte, maybe that's an intermediate that Texas, probably Texas. I think that's kind of a comp track there too, probably to Vegas. Like that's it, right? Like there's not really.
I could also see like
maybe I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what he's got going on in IRP. I think he's got too much competition there with Riggs and Majeski, but he pulled it last year. That's what I'm saying. Like he's like weird qualifiers, but maybe a track like Pocono. Like he started 3rd there, finished top 10. Like maybe that would be something. I mean, he was 3rd at Bristol, started 3rd at Bristol, so like maybe there's something there too. But like again, short tracks don't scream Rajah Caruth to me. So Kansas. He didn't have a great run at Kansas. He didn't touch the money for gamblers. Was not in the top 5. Didn't qualify well. So if it's not Vegas, maybe Nashville.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe Homestead. But like I said, I don't want to. I think 2 is just too much.
I think if you're going to fade a driver in the limited season win totals there are for the Truck Series, Rajah Caruth is the guy to do it. I absolutely think like there's not there's not anyone else I really would be keying in to take the under. So Phil, I like the call out there a lot, man. I like a lot of the bets you brought us tonight, man. And you're always swinging a hot bat, especially in the truck. So thank you so much for joining us, man. Tell all the people out there on the internet who watch this program where they can find you, how they can best support you as the 2025 NASCAR season approaches.
Well, yeah, Seth, always a pleasure. I was thrilled to join you tonight, man. This was really fun. You can follow me at Full Tank Phil on X and Instagram, definitely Instagram. And the podcast is Full Tank with Phil. We'll be getting the Cup Series content going every race for this season. And for trucks, my initiative this year, you know, we used to have a Truck Series podcast on the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. That's not going to be coming back this year, but give my YouTube a look. I'm trying to build up my YouTube, right? You're the king of YouTube, Seth. I'm trying to follow your footsteps and just get little like quick hitters for race day for trucks. My best bets for trucks, make it real quick and easy to absorb on a truck weekend. So that'll be my goal, and give that a follow as well on YouTube.
Awesome. Well, make sure you guys are keeping connected with Phil. If you enjoy this type of content here on In Between Media, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We got some really exciting stuff underway here. Can't wait to reveal it to you very, very soon. And hey, we got cars on the track as early as next week. that we'll be gambling on, as we always do here on the back road. So enjoy your last weekend of complete freedom, of not sweating out bets. And until next time, y'all know what to do. Keep it in between. Thank you.